The audience, it is time to start the International Online Conference, Innovations in Cities, Engagement Towards Advancing the Decarbonization of Cities and Lifestyles. My name is Watanabe from from the Sustainable Consumption and Production area of IGES. My name is Watanabe. And thank you very much for your participation, even though it is very late hours for some of you. Our organization, IGES, is on SDGs, which was agreed on in 2015, that for the sustainable environment and for the sustainable global or the countermeasures for climate change, that we have worked on those issues. And also we believe that it's inevitable to change our lifestyle, so that we are researching on international programs to change the livelihood of ours for the sustainable society. And it is the 8th year since the agreement of the Paris Accord on the climate change, that international corporations in this agenda has been more activated, particularly that in addition to the changes of infrastructure for the infrastructure or the transportation system, that those it is especially to be especially noted that all urban environment has been promoting the sustainable society. Therefore, that for the UK, India, and Germany and Japan, that learning from their experience from the cities of those countries for the sustainability agenda is the theme for today's event. And to start this conference, there are some points that we'd like to be noted. And today's conference can be heard either in English or Japanese. You are able to select the language that you would like to hear. And for this international event, that we have a discussion as a panel discussion, and your comments or questions are always welcomed, and you are able to use the Q&A function on Zoom. This is today's program. What we are following the opening program, that 1.5 degrees lifestyle, for which that I just have been working on, will be covered. Then that from UK, Germany, and India, and in Japan, in some cities, that we would like to have a panel discussion for listening their experiences, particularly in these 6 cities that approaches to change their activities or their behavior for decarbonizations, and also some activities to utilize the participation or involvement of the citizens. And lastly, this will be closed by the Mr. Takahashi of IGS. First, as a setting, the scene that we would like to have we would like to invite Mr. Kojima.
He is the program director at Kansai, and he's been studying using waste, and he's been engaged in the policy making, and he's the leader of making 1.5 lifestyle. Today, he's going to talk to us about decarbonizing cities, and how can we achieve 1.5 degree lifestyle. Thank you, Kojima-san. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Watabe-san, for kind introduction. So my name is Satoshi Kojima of IGES. So my presentation entitled Decarbonization Effort of Cities, Municipalities with Citizens, 1.5 degree lifestyles and citizen engagement. So first, let me explain briefly the background of citizen engagement of decarbonized transition at city municipality level. So this graph shows the drastic increase of the number of cities, municipalities declare net zero carbon by 2050 in Japan. So current, as this graph shows, currently more than 800 municipalities are covering more than 99% of total population of Japan already declared net zero carbon by 2050. Actually, cities, municipalities have many opportunities to promote decarbonization. First, effective planning implementation of decarbonization efforts reflecting local conditions is possible. And also, city municipality has close interaction communication with citizens. At the same time, there are challenges because first, the provision of the goods and services consumed in the boundary, within boundary, highly depends on outside. So mitigation potential of direct emission generated in the boundary may be very limited. And related to this, it's often difficult to identify concrete mitigation measures at city municipality level if we focus on the direct emissions. So this is a background why we IGES, promote 1.5 degree lifestyle approach with many collaborators. So that uniqueness uniqueness of this 1.5 degree lifestyle approach is first, this project aims to achieve both comfortable and quality living and decarbonization transition simultaneously. Then in the methodology wide, combination of quantitative analysis focusing carbon footprint and then citizen participation, like a citizen workshop, is one of the characteristic of this approach. So our intention is, so this approach consists of several steps. First, we set lifestyle carbon footprint reduction target consistent with 1.5 degree target of the Paris Agreement. And then against this reduction target, we propose a variety of specific actions for lifestyle carbon footprint reduction. And then also, we try to propose supporting measures by other stakeholders like government and business for implementation and dissemination of citizen actions. Because, later I will explain this. So anyway, so we think the quantification of the current lifestyle carbon footprint and the reduction potential of mitigation effects gives a real sense of both the decarbonization impacts or decarbonization potential of citizen efforts, and then also the necessity of very ambitious actions across society to achieve the 1.5 degree target. We think this is the key because we direct encourage like citizens that citizens has a big potential to achieve decarbonization, but also it's important to recognize everybody that it's very ambitious targets, so coordinated action across society is necessary. And then, so citizens' engagement in 1.5 degree project, focusing on the several drivers of lifestyle change, because our lifestyle is, limited or like influenced by many drivers. For example, local environment and the infrastructure is crucial. Like if there's no appropriate public transportation, it's difficult to shift from private car to public transportation, for example. Also, available products and services influence our decisions. And then also rules of workplace or rules of schools or communities drives or determines our lifestyles. And then apparently own needs and family needs, we have to consider to design our lifestyles. So we think through the participatory workshop, citizen workshop, it's important to think and test, learn and share what we want to change and what we can change as a community and family is crucial. And then through such kind of participatory process, we can identify barriers against actions through household experiments of actions and then propose, and then based on these identified barriers, we can propose supporting measures, effective supporting measures. So this is a simple diagram of workflow of 1.5 degree lifestyle project, which corresponds to original plan. As I will explain, now we realize some customization is also necessary. So originally, we intended to develop a city-specific scenario towards 1.5-degree lifestyle. And then for that purpose, so we first provide a quantitative evidence, so like existing carbon footprint in the city. And then also we develop workshop tools like workshop action catalog of mitigation actions with quantified mitigation potentials. Then based on such workshop tools, we organized 2 workshops. And then between 2 workshops, we have a household experiment where workshop participants actually try to implement proposed mitigation actions. And then, so in the first workshop, so we explain the background of this, this decarbonization issue, and then also explain the possible mitigation actions, and then participants actually experience these actions through household experiment. Then, based on such experience, we have second workshop to elaborate the city scenario, which correspond to achieving 1.5-degree lifestyle in target year. Then we summarize the outcome of this workshop as a report. So this is the original plan. And then, so this is a key workshop tool, which is city-specific catalog of lifestyle change options or mitigation actions. So in this catalog, so we try to explain the mitigation actions in a very easily understanding way with some quantitative measure of potential mitigation impacts, which reflect the local condition of each city. But then through the experience, so we realize several challenges or difficulty to pursue our original objective to provide a city-specific decarbonization scenario based on this methodology. So one difficulty is, okay, so we conducted this kind of workshops and then the household experiment in 6 cities in several countries with our collaborators, like Kyoto and Yokohama in Japan, Sao Paulo in Brazil, New Delhi, India, Cape Town in South Africa, and then Nonthaburi in Thailand. Then the major challenges and lessons learned are as follows. So first, in order to engage citizens who can commit to attend all sessions, means 2 workshops and household experiments, we recruited participants through citizen groups because only passionate participants can commit to attend all sessions. So that's why we recruited very environmentally conscious citizens only. So it means that participants did not reflect diversity of citizens. And also, to get the commitment to attend all sessions. So we try to limit duration of workshops. It means with limited discussion time, we have to conduct workshops. And then like selection of mitigation measures, and then setting adoption rates. Adoption rates means each mitigation actions, so how many percentage of citizens and how frequently these mitigation actions should be implemented. So this kind of thing we try to determine through workshop, citizen workshop, based on citizen participants' opinion. But it was really challenging, difficult. So, so one way is we need to elaborate our methodology to pursue original objective. But alternatively, we can think various objectives of citizens' engagement, not necessarily to develop city-specific scenario, decarbonization scenario. Then customize methodologies according to various objectives. So this is just a original design, just to convey image of original design. Like we try to set adoption rates to achieve 1.5 degree target. Like for each actions like telework, how much adoption rate is necessary in 2030 for online home coming visit, how much adoption rate necessary. So this kind of thing we set through workshop. Then as a result, we can estimate mitigation potential as a whole actions in a city. Then as shown in this below graph, like how much is the current carbon footprint, and then with these actions by citizens, how much we can reduce the carbon footprint. And then one challenge, another challenge we faced was, for example, in Japanese cities, Kyoto, Yokohama, we realized that even all the proposed actions were fully implemented, 1.5 degree target cannot be achieved. And then because one reason is we assume the like energy mix and the technologies are fixed as a present level, but in reality, like in 2030, this like energy mix will be changed, like more renewable energy will be introduced, and then technology will be more advanced. But without such kind of a future projection, it was found that the target cannot be achieved. So, particularly, according to our experience, like Japan and also South Africa, the current carbon footprint is quite high. So it is really challenging to achieve 1.5 degree target, unless we assume some dynamic projection of energy mix and then the technologies. So that's why now we are also thinking the customization, and then we try to some customization. For example, this is the Kagoshima City case. For Kagoshima City case, we much more focus on encourage ownership of participants. So this is also one objective of citizen engagement. So Kagoshima workshop prioritize this encouraging ownership. So more time was spent for kind of free discussion, like what kind of what you request to the future society, and then what you want to change, like what is your intended action. So this kind of free discussions are more focused. And then the discussion about the selection of options or setting adoption rate, so these kind of things are not, not fully implemented. So this is one way. And then also, this is another example of customization. It's like an environmental education purpose. So we realize that this 1.5 degree lifestyle approach is very, relevant for like environmental education for young generation. And then, so based on the findings from our project, so far a 2-volume book for children was published as this image shows. And then this book was used to our environmental education sessions at some junior high school in Yokohama City. So this is one way of customization. So this is the last slide for my presentation. So key messages is so decarbonization actions at city municipality level is crucial to realize decarbonization transition of society. But as I mentioned, there are many challenges, and then so the expected benefits of citizen engagement in decarbonization efforts at this level are not only one, there's several benefit. For example, like encouraging citizens' ownership to implement decarbonization transition, or improve citizen understanding or awareness of decarbonization, and then also improve relevant knowledge such as carbon footprint. And then also utilize ideas of citizens in formulating decarbonization strategy or action plans. And then also reflect diversity of citizens and ensure just aspect and inclusiveness of decarbonization transition. So there are many potential benefit of citizen engagement. So we believe that the methodology of 1.5 lifestyle project provides a good starting point to develop a variety of methodologies or tools to exploit these benefits of citizen engagement. So thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kojima. Now, let's move on to panel discussion. At panel, there are 6 cities. We have a panelist from 60 cities who are in charge of that countermeasure for the climate change. And one is that for the opportunities for the citizens, the decarbonization efforts of cities and municipalities with the citizens, and the methodology to overcome the challenges and issues in the course of the decarbonizations. So having here those presentation that we would like to deepen our discussions. So that we are going to introduce the 6 panelists to introduce opportunities for citizens engagement. That in order to hear that experience from 6 cities, we would like to ask to spend only 5 minutes for your presentation each. First, from Durham County Council of UK, Dr. Maggie Bosanquet, who is a low carbon economy team leader, that he is in charge. He is leading the team for net zero target, and who is doing the report on energy monitoring and the preparation of the sustainable or renewable energies. And during the course of that, the business, schools, the citizen groups, that networks with them have been developed. So the Dr. Bosanquet, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you, and thank you very much for inviting me. I feel very honoured to be here. So in Durham, which is in the north of England, we declared a climate emergency in 2019. I think that's something that's happened a lot in the UK. And at that time, we set targets to achieve to tackle net zero. We aim to get to net zero for the council itself, for our own behaviours, by 2030, and for the whole of the county, which is a large area ranging from the coast over to the mountains, to get to net zero by 2045. So those are very challenging targets. The UK target is by 2050. We recognise that we can't do any of this alone. So the first thing we did is to create a strategic partnership where we have high-level commitment from organisations like our local university, our water company, the infrastructure national grid organisation that delivers electricity and gas, community organisations, the NHS, the health services, and so on. And we also have a joint climate declaration where they and many, many, many more partners have signed a declaration to work towards net zero. Inside the council, we have put climate change into the job description for every person who works for the council. Everyone must have regard to climate change in their behaviour. And we also have compulsory training for all the staff in the council in climate change. And we have a corporate board with the directors all working towards, it's called the Corporate Net Zero Board. Across the county, we have a very big schools carbon reduction programme. We work in about 240 schools, working with the children, the teachers, the caretakers, the business managers, and so on. And that's called Eco2 Smart Schools. We also work with our local businesses. We have a business energy efficiency programme where we try to do an individual survey of any business that wants our help. A technical survey where we can identify what they can do and what they can change, what technologies they can adopt, and so on. For example, switching to electric vehicles. We also have a community support program where we work with communities to see what they can do. We also work on their buildings to try and help to make their buildings more energy efficient. And between all of those partners, we have very many projects that we've started. I don't think there is time to go into them now because you will all be very bored, but you know, there is a lot of things happening that are quite exciting. I can say more if you want. And finally, we have a big program of, we've branded all our work around climate change. We've created a website that people across the county can link into as individuals to find out what we believe that they can do to tackle climate change. We measure all of the emissions. We have quite accurate emissions for our own council, for our direct emissions. And we also do a lot of work on our purchasing and how to tackle that. For the county, we have government figures, which are 2 years in arrears. They're 2 years old, but that is still good and useful. So we're working as hard as we can, and we recognise the urgency of this work. And I know I speak to friends here across this conference when I say it's too late for competition to try and be, you know, I want to be the best, I want to be better than all the rest. It's too late for that. We have to work together. We have to share our learning. For me, across the county with other organisations, but also with all of you across other countries. We must collaborate, we must work together, we must learn from what we do wrong, but mostly what we do right, because our target of 2030 is just 7 years away, which is very scary. So good luck to all of us, and I will stop there.
マギさん、どうもありがとうございました。ご視聴の皆様、
Thank you very much, Dr. Maggie. And if you have questions, please use the Q&A function. And even during the course of the presentation, the other panelists will be able to answer, or I'm going to have a Q&A time later on. And actually, I have one question to Maggie-san. To Maggie, do you talk about the community, school, university, business? Do you have a project collaborating with the different parties? And among them, are there any particular party that you would like to point out that you see that it is very interesting?
I think there are many things that we do that are very successful. I am particularly proud of our schools program because the children are the future. And if we can't persuade our children that they must take action urgently, then we are really lost. And we find that all the schools are doing so many wonderful projects. Many of them have solar panels on the roof. They will do small things like picking up litter, because I think that gets the children aware of what they can do. Many of them have a climate committee, where often it is set up by the children and they develop actions, but also we are starting to work with those children to take lessons home to their parents, to say, okay, at school we do this, at home what we can do. And it's quite funny, we hear of children who start turning the lights off instead of the parents telling the children to do it. And sometimes it's not realistic, but it's a very nice way to carry the lesson home, and I think people do listen to their children's messages.
Thank you very much. As you say, that getting the children involved would be the very wise approach, so that learning from the children, we have a lot that we can learn from the children. Okay, so we have one more question. That urban agriculture, if you have any activities in urban agriculture in the city of Durham, will you share it with us?
Yes, indeed, that is a very important issue for us, because we work across County Durham. So the city is a small city in the middle of the county. Most of the area is urban. When we consulted our population, the thing that they cared about most was tree planting. So we are trying to plant as many trees as possible. Also, the higher areas of the county have very thick areas of peat, which is the old soil that would eventually become coal. It contains a lot of methane and carbon. And many farmers have been drying it out, draining it so that they can plant crops there. So we have a project to try and protect and re-wet the peat. We think that's very important. We are working with farmers across the county. They struggle a lot here. We've had the terrible problem of Brexit, which means that all the money that the farmers were getting is now lost. It's very sad. And many of them are looking to diversify, to do other things. So we encourage them where they can to create wildlife areas and to plant trees and so on. But that's difficult with money. As you can imagine, we do local food growing projects. We use the heat from the flooded mines to bring up the warm water that can heat greenhouses. So that's a very new project. And we have declared an ecological emergency. So we are working on a plan for that. There's much more I can say. I think that probably, I don't want to take too much time. That summarizes some of the things we do.
Well, thank you very much. Because of the time constraint, we'd like to move on to the other panelists. And though we have received another questions, but these questions would be related to all other panelists and important point. So I'm going to cover that later on.
Next, from the city of Kagoshima, Chief Investigator, Environment Policy Division, would like to introduce Mr. Arimura Taichi. He is passionate about protecting the nature in Kagoshima, and he studied science. And he at the city of Kagoshima. He has been working on climate change countermeasures. Arimura-san, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for your introduction. I am Arimura from Environment Policy Division, Kagoshima City, and my presentation is titled Efforts Toward Zero Carbon City, Kagoshima. And this is just a little introduction of Kagoshima. Kagoshima City is in the very south of Japan. And in Kagoshima, the city of Kagoshima, we have two active volcanoes, and this is the bay, and this is a very beautiful place. And in the city of Kagoshima, we are enriched with nature, and also we have a very famous food, and we have historical figures as well. And this is one of the most popular cities to visit for sightseeing, and this is the CO2 emissions. This is the latest data of 2019, and the total of emission was 3.4 millions in 2019. And if you look at in more detail, it comes 35% from transportation. And on the right-hand side, emission by source, electricity account for 39%, and automobile fuel, gas emissions, 31%. So those are the two major sources that we need to tackle. And next, and I'm going to talk to you about our actions, Zero Carbon City Kagoshima, to market or PR our city. Our target is to achieve zero carbon by 2050. Left-hand side is our logo. This is to communicate wide, and then we have a catch copy to widely communicate with different audiences. And so this is the logo on the bus. This is a tram, and this is another way to raise awareness of people. And left-hand side, we have a poster with our logo. And for school children, we have some brochures for school children to raise awareness of people. And we have two videos. Left-hand side, it's about the left about zero carbon city, and the right-hand side is a video about what we can do to achieve 2050. And you can find those videos on YouTube. So I would be happy if you have take a time to watch them. And next, in zero carbon challenge business, and on the brochure on the left in the middle is IGES is also a part of this. This is a brochure to options how you can achieve decarbonized lifestyle. And then we created so-called zero carbon challenge sheet based on quantitative data, and those participated. We have some little prize, and we had a contest. And this is the zero carbon challenge sheet, and left-hand side, it explains why we have to aim for zero carbon. Left-hand side, this is to raise awareness or urgency that this is something we need to tackle together. And the right-hand side is zero carbon challenge sheet, and this is the list of actions we can contribute to the reduction of emissions. Next. And as a result of the actions or contest, we share outcomes on the website and social media. And 356 families participated. And Kagoshima city has 280,000 households. And if all participated, we could have achieved 45% of commission. So those little actions, we believe that those little actions will help us to achieve this ambitious goal. And so it's important to get involvement from citizens in the city. We have some facilities, Kagoshima Museum of Environment. We have a museum, and we have some exhibitions regarding zero carbon. And right-hand side, this is the outside of the museum, and we have a green rooftop. And at this museum, for the citizens, we hold several workshops in 2020. For younger generation, younger than 25 years old, we had a workshop with the younger generation. And next one, so we work with Kagoshima University. We do, and right-hand side, this is a design a student came up with, and they also came up with some catchy phrase to raise awareness amongst people. And also this year, together with IGES, we had a workshop with the help of IGES. And what was good about this was that not only what we expect from society, but what people can do, what the individual. This was an opportunity where each in one of them could think about what they can do, and they share their ideas. That ends my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Arimura-san, Mr. Arimura, thank you very much. So that marketing or PR activities, you need a lot of people. You need to bring a lot of people on board, and also in education, you had a workshop for school children. And one question for children and students, when you organize workshop for younger generation, and where do you organize them? Or I think you need to communicate with schools, because they have a schedule, and also children may have different interest, and what city wants to do, and what school want, and what children or student want. How do you coordinate different needs to organize a workshop for them? And if it's to work school facilities such as the university, then we closely work with education association, and we share information with them. And then when we organize a workshop for student, first we go to education committee or association. We're not quite sure if our workshops really meet the needs of students, but in a school curriculum, we try to make sure that we are aligned to school curriculum. So we closely work with teachers. We have one more question, but we only have limited time. So let's move on to the next panelist. And when time allows, we will ask Mr. Arimura to address the question.
The next panelist is from India, Dr. Navin Rai, who is in charge of the project in Namchi city in India, that the public infrastructure and the public service or different type of the projects are being led by him, and he is currently the director and additional chief town planner. Dr. Rai, floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me share my screen first. Hello, everyone. I feel very honored to have been invited in this conference and present my use case of the city. So I'll be moving on to this is my structure of the presentations which I have. So I'll be introducing the city and provide you some special context, and after that citizen engagement, and later on with some thematic pilot projects. So here we are. As you know, the Sikkim. I'm from Sikkim, and it's a 22nd state of India. We became part of India in very later stage of time. So this is where we are, and this is where the city of Namchi is. And in order to bring to give some background of the Sikkim, this is we joined Indian Union in 1975, and we have a landmass of 7,000 square kilometer with a population of 0.8 million. So this is some accolades which we have achieved so far after being part of India. So I'll just quick run through, and you can have it have a look at afterwards. So this is we are the one of the fastest rate of urbanization in Indian context in census 2011, which is 153%. So giving this context as a in the frame, so you can just imagine that we have only 10% of usable land in Sikkim, which is around 7 square kilometer, where we have to accommodate the entire urbanizations within this context, 700 square kilometer. So this is the two largest urban centers in India, Gangtok and Namchi, where we are. This is where I work. My project is on the Smart Cities Mission. So it's around 7.14 square kilometer, 7 municipal ward, with a population of around 25,000 to 50,000. I can imagine like 2011, it was 25,000 and it's 50,000 hopefully by now. And it is one of the smart city selected on the government of India. So under this, we have various thematic models. So you can just have a look at the rate of urbanization which is taken place in the town of Namchi. So this is some pictures which gives you clarity how it is urbanizing and how it is challenging for us. So this is how we went about preparing smart city, where the citizens were engaged robustly. So theme of this online seminar, which can really relate. So I'll just give you run through. This is how we did lots of online engagement through different platforms and focus group discussion, engage with the local councillors, and these are some of the clips of the feedback which got it from the citizens, brochures and real-time feedbacks, and some essay competitions through participation of the students. So this is how it looked like then. So this is the few examples where councillors and political leaders they attended. So this is how we came out at the end of the discussions. We came to smart city missions, but among them, this is the area which focus, and I'm going to showcase the active mobility part of the smart city missions, which we have done, and it is successful. So to give you example, this one area, which is one of the densely populated and densely built area, which it was before, it was looking like that. So now it is well connected with the pedestrian networks, so which you can see from this, and these are the few areas which we are undergoing development right now, and it is like this. The streets are more safer, and we are going to connect it through through different model of the mobility. This is how one of the places which we have installed solar PV, and this is how the foot over bridge, and this is how it is connected. Right now it is still under construction, so we are going to basically provide a seamless mobility where the people can really take active mobility as their a primary mode of travel. So this is how the street looks, quite safer with the LED street light and integrated with the photovoltaic, which is installed there, and it's on grid. So everything is now controlled by the command and control center, which is already there operational. So this is how we are engaging right now with the citizens. We have a plantation drive. This is how the people takes part. Every once in a year we do this, and this is cycling, one of the event we do every year to promote cycling. These few of the glimpses which we have, and this is the one of the online thematic competition we do every year. This is Green Namchi. This is citizen perception survey which we do, and this is a photography competition. This is how we are engaging with the citizens, and right now the project is on, and we are working towards. Hopefully now we are aligned with this 1.5 degrees lifestyle, thematic theme. We are developing a city in that line, but we need to again work much more harder to actually bring about the real document the the changes which we have done and align with the 1.5 degree lifestyle. Thank you. I think I'm not on. I can't hear much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Rai. Oh, you have a variety of activities of a city engagement, planting, cycling, or photo contest. So you have introduced a variety of activities, and we have just received one question. So all of the farmers in the state are moving toward the organic the agriculture. Are there any specific program for that?
We do have state level, Sikkim Organic Mission, which is already been implemented. It is through legislation. So this is the state level program.
これは州レベルのプログラムとして正式に決まったものであります。それに基づいて各都市で実行しているというものになります。
どうもありがとうございました。非常に興味深いその参加の取り組みがたくさんあって、また後ほどお話を伺えればと思います。
Thank you very much. Well, we would like to hear more later on.
And next panelist is from Akita Odate, Director of Environment Division City of Odate. Mr. Kuroda, please. Thank you very much for your introduction. I am Kuroda from Odate City, and I am here to present Odate City development of a local plan for global warming countermeasures. Just an overview of the city. Just to give you an overview of the cities, we are in the northern part of Japan, and it's in the north of Akita Prefecture, that is already in the very north of Japan, and 80% of the city is forest, and the population is 67,962 and 31,474 households, and the major economy will be agriculture, forestry, recycling, pharmaceutical, and in the past, mining was the biggest economy, and now we are making a shift to recycling business. And our major initiatives are to attract more visitors and branding and local product tourism, educational tourism, and sports related exchanges. And first of all, about this plan, I would like to share consultation or council for the Odate city. And in 2021, January 16, we announced that we will achieve zero carbon. And by 2050, we will achieve net zero. And this plan to achieve net zero, to achieve zero carbon declaration in 2021 to 2022, we made a plan. We made an action plan to achieve that objective and for carbon neutral and also rejuvenating local economy. Citizens and administration and businesses, with those stakeholders, we share information to paint the desirable city or desirable society we want to live in. So we have scholars from local, people from local financial institutions and farmers, people from electricity, power company and construction, and citizens. And also we have some people from environmental committee. And at this council for decarbonization, we have 4 critical initiatives. First is to reduce energy or save energy. And also second one is alternative energy. And the third one is circulation. And the fourth one is original action. And about saving energy, introducing LED or implementing insulation to homes. And the next one is renewables. That is to implement solar power, solar panels in available land, and EV, FCV, implementing FCV and EV, and shifting to hydrogen. And next one is like a circular, implementing a circular system, use bio and fertilizer, and also capture carbon and using waste more efficient way. And the third one is to Hinai is to more added value to our local product and also to promote tourism with decarbonization aspects. And this is to make a plan. We also organize workshops with the citizens, and this was conducted with the help of IGES. And at the workshop, the purpose of the workshop is that for 2050, order it to be decarbonized, the city needs to be a comfortable place to live in for the citizens. And to make the city comfortable and decarbonized, we solicited ideas from citizens and used those ideas into our plan. And the participants, volunteers, some volunteers, NPO farmers, NPO practitioners, students, high school students, and local executive and board of members of local committees, and university students as well. And at the workshop, from the participants, we solicited ideas from them and for them to experience what kind of decarbonized society, the benefit of using LED or other actions. We, we created a space where they can experience decarbonized lives and also abandoned or vacant homes by implementing insulator that will also help us to go green and revigorate economy. And also farmers, not only organic agriculture, we create a space where farmers can exchange there was an idea that there has to be a space where farmers come together and exchange ideas and facilitate agriculture, organic agriculture. So those are the ideas that they came up. So it was a very short, but that ends my presentation. Thank you. We have one question about tourism. So this is a Odate original action, you mentioned tourism and decarbonization. Can you be more specific? What kind of how you are planning to promote tourism with decarbonization? I briefly mentioned that we have our city developed on mining, and using that mining technology, we are recycling waste and waste, how we process waste or smartphones, or also we recycle home appliances and the recycling business. We are promoting recycling business, and we market our recycling business, and then we try to use that for attract people, tourists.
Let's move on. Next presentation will be given by Dr. Franka Bindanagel from Zollingen. She has been in research and development activities in Latin America, and also at the Zollingen city that she is engaged in the various sustainability project, and also she is a coordinator of international relations at Zollingen. Dr. Bindagel, the floor is yours.
Okay, now I think you can hear me, right? Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here. And I just want to introduce some experiences from the city of Solingen in Germany. And just a small introduction to the city. It's an autonomous city next to Cologne and Düsseldorf in the west of Germany, and has about 164,000 inhabitants from about 130 nations. It is traditionally an industrial city. The main industries are blade and cutlery manufacturing, automotive supply industry, and engineering, and also galvanic and metalworking industry. We have many years of experience now in sustainability projects, campaigns, and concepts. And also we have an extensive participation culture with citizens. Now, we wanted or after we already had some different special concepts we wanted to develop a systemic approach to move forward and translate the Global Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development into local action. So we started a pilot scheme with broad public involvement. And one element were the public sustainability conferences in February 2017 and September 2017. They were so successful that since then we have sustainable conferences every year. So they were a very crucial approach to the process and to involve lots of people, with more than 100 stakeholders taking part at each conference. And we integrated the stakeholders into the definition of targets, in the definition of projects, and also in the definition of action plans and next steps. This was part of an extensive process from August 2016 until December 2018. And at the end, we had a quite comprehensive sustainability strategy. We included a network of experts, internal experts from the city of Solingen, but also external experts from different parts of society. They supported us in preparing the conferences, they advised us, and also they helped with the presentation. So for example, we had experts there from the Service Agency for Local Governments in One World, that is sponsored by the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development here in Germany. Also, we closely work together with the Sustainability Network North Rhine-Westphalia, that is the North Rhine-Westphalia is the state where Solingen is in. And also, we work together with a local NGO that is called Forum of Social Innovation, who were very helpful in organizing the local processes. In the end, we had really a comprehensive sustainability strategy with 6 fields of action. You can see here in form of a bus network map. So we still use that map really to give it away and show it to people. And the 6 parts are the 6 fields of action are global responsibility, mobility, social participation, jobs and economy, climate and energy, and also natural resources in the environment. The comprehensive sustainability strategy that has a definition of local basic principles, of strategic objectives, and also a catalog of measures. Oops, excuse me. One of the measures, one of the many measures we have is a sustainability rating and resolutions of the City Council. So this assessment we do since 2018 for all draft resolutions of the Council and its bodies. The objective is to check the expected impact of draft resolutions on the objectives of the sustainability strategy, present the results in the draft for political decision-making, and so promote early discussion and inclusion of sustainable objectives in the development of projects, processes, and concepts. Here on the right-hand side of the slide, you see the sheet we use with the different topics where the people in the City Hall can then assess the sustainability of a measure and give it into the process for political decision-making. Now, what are the challenges? Of course, lots of challenges we have really for more transformation, for more economic and ecological transformation. But one challenge, of course, is how to transfer the high level of engagement and motivation of several hundred people from the strategy process to the remaining 164,000 citizens in Solingen. Also, funding for implementing dialogue and projects, practical projects, is quite a problem. And of course, like in many nations, social habits and norms that are counterproductive, like the consumption scheme and also meat-based diets. And we have on the local ground unfavorable legal framework and tax regulations, national regulations, for example, the discrimination of public transport and the subsidization of cars and roads. That makes it quite difficult for us on the local ground to change our habits. Now, I want to introduce some practical projects as well we did in the last year. One project to engage citizens and really move forward in a practical way was the tree sponsoring and the campaign about trees. We called it People Need Trees and Trees Need People. The municipality pays for the purchase, planting, and maintenance of one tree, approximately €1,000. And we received 250 inquiries by citizens in a fortnight for this project. So lots of citizens were very interested. We called that project Good Parenthood for a Tree. And that tree can be planted on private grounds, or families, or companies. Those people or companies have the duty to care for the tree. And the municipality supports them in the first 2 years with advice and practical support. And of course, the objective of this project is to plant more trees in the city quarters, to cool down the air, to improve quality of living, to filter dust, and to act with nature-based solutions against climate change. Another practical project we have are the places of change, we call it. It's a network of different places. Different institutions act as ambassadors for sustainability and contribute concretely and continuously to change. Within the framework of their public relations work, the places carry their commitment to the outside world and participate in events and sustainability conferences. At least 3 long-term measures or activities have to be implemented and continuously expanded in those places. So just to give you an example, which places we have on the list is quite long already. One is the municipal youth house, the municipal co-working space, public schools, housing association, the municipal home for senior citizens, the municipal kindergartens. And what do they do? For example, the municipal youth house, they stimulate and support dialogue, live democracy, diversity, and solidarity. And for example, they do cooking workshops with sustainable products. The municipal co-working space try to combine startup economy and sustainability. They try to share economy, or they do more in shared economy, reduce space and energy consumption. The public schools very much engage in education for sustainable development. They want to develop more awareness for individual and collective responsibility. And they do practical projects that are carried out by the students, teachers, and parents together. The Housing Association, they're very active in the energy efficient redevelopment of houses and homes. They build a block type thermal power station in housing estates, and they have a location for encountering for people who live in their houses to get together and do joint events, as we think that social getting together is very important as well for a sustainable world. The municipal home for senior citizens, they have fair trade products in the public cafe, like coffee and tea. They reduce rubbish, and they have insect-friendly plants in the garden. And also the municipal kindergartens, they develop better spaces for insects, like with insect hotels, insect-friendly plants in the gardens, and also they do educational work with children. Now, the next one, another action is we have cycling in the city. It's a nationwide action, I think, to do today already, and worldwide action organized in individual cities and municipalities. People can register via website and application, and they form teams and collect kilometers. The winner teams get prizes. This action is every year for 3 weeks, and we have about 90 teams and about 900 cyclists participating. They avoid together 22 tons of carbon dioxide during that action. And another project we have is the change of municipal procurement. We want to change it to more regional, ecological, and fair trade products. So we did workshops with municipal employees in the Department of Procurement and the canteen of the City Hall. We changed the selection of foods, and we purchased sustainable paper. Thank you very much.
フランカさん、どうもありがとうございました。非常に魅力的で、たくさん質問し
Thank
たい。
you very much. It's so attractive. There are so many attractive projects, and I'd like to ask a question. However, my time management is poor. Its time is constrained. So let's move on. And I will come back to you later on, probably.
The last panelist is from Yokohama. He is the Executive Director for Planning and Coordination Department of Climate Change Policy, Mr. Kazuaki Takahashi. And you mentioned that for central government, you mentioned that challenges in relation to central government. And I think Mr. Takahashi, he works with the central government as well and the local government to address climate change issues. So if possible, can you address what it's like to work with central government as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Watabe-san, and hello, everyone. I'm Takahashi from City of Yokohama. It's my great honor to speak here today and appreciate the preparation of the meeting by IGES. Here shows basic information about City of Yokohama. As you can see, Yokohama is located west side of Tokyo and is a city with the largest population in Japan, about 3.7 million. This population is as much as that in Uruguay and Mongolia. This graph shows the trend of greenhouse gas emission. City of Yokohama can reduce the emission gradually. However, the emission from households has been stable, and it's one of the big issues for achieving carbon neutral society. As for lifestyle issue, this year we have started a new program to innovate and spread attractive lifestyle and a carbon neutral society. Actually, this program is impressed by 1.5 BT project by AGES, explained at the beginning of this meeting. To reduce life cycle greenhouse gas emission, a new lifestyle is necessary for various areas such as fashion, food, house, transportation, consumer goods, leisure, and energy. And to spread new lifestyle, we believe that it should deliver not only carbon neutral, but attractive future. Under these views, Yokohama is trying to innovate business or a local model related to sustainable and pioneer lifestyle. For this innovation, we will utilize this digital technology which can share various goods and assist our activities and local communities, which has been the basis of Japanese society for a long time. This program, we would like to integrate carbon neutral society, sound material cycle society in harmony with nature and sustainable development. We are conducting demonstration experiment for reducing emissions from transportation and food. Smartphones with an application software is used for visiting places and transportation distance and means by GPS function. We are planning to continue this kind of experiments for various lifestyles. To summarize, Yokohama is trying to create attractive lifestyle and a carbon neutral circular economy, harmony with nature, and sustainable society. It is our pleasure to discuss and collaborate with you to make carbon neutrality through with synergies between the Paris Agreement and the 2030 target. Thank you for your attention.
高橋さん、どうもありがとうございました。皆
Thank
様に
you very much, Mr. Takahashi,
市民と協力して脱炭素化を進める取り組みについて
about decarbonization and citizen engagement. We just saw 6 presentations, but I like to go to the discussion or question.
Well, the second question is that the different activities such as deciding that the target for the all stakeholders are utilizing the different scheme or to change the behavior of the people. So in one word, that these are very advanced activities which are so attractive, but in every project, every program needs to the involvement of the different and many the people, and you have been doing the different kind of things, meaning that there would be some challenges, that you have faced some challenges and difficulties that you need the support from the others. So I would like to go through from the different order and to share that your challenges, the challenges that you have faced and the solution that you have come up with. First, I would like to ask Mr. Takahashi of Yokohama City. So in your presentation talked about using the app on the smartphone, but the target is to change the overall lifestyle and the infrastructure of the city. And you have just started the new experiment, but going forward to the next step, what kind of difficulties that you feel? Thank you very much. Oh, changing the lifestyle of the people, and so that the reduction of CO2 of life cycle to be achieved. But to do that, that the bright future has to be presented. But in order to do that, in addition to the public service agencies, but the perspective from the different stakeholders to come up with the creative solutions. And to do that, the dialogue and co-creation should be developed. Thank you very much. Well, but in addition to that immediate action, that we need a future vision, and create a future vision is important, and continue the activities toward that future vision is important. So to the Franca, Dr. Franca of City of Solingen, that you said that you hold the conference every year. But in order to continue those activities every year, you may have some difficulties. As you mentioned, some challenges, the 4 challenges. So I'd like to know that any issues or challenges in continuing dialogue, conversation with the citizens.
Yes, of course, it's not always easy to get everybody on board, but we do change the format of the conferences. So in the last 2 years, we split the conference. We didn't do it on one place, but we did it decentralized in the places of change, and the first places of change, and also on the second round of places of change. So people who wanted to go to the conference first went to the places of change, did a small workshop there, got to know the places, connected with the people who work there, and then came back to a central place to put together their ideas and their impressions. And so we try to implement really the various measures we have in the city and get it into the broad public and connect people.
はい、ありがとうございました。そうですね、エンゲージメントを
Well,
続ける。
thank you very much. That in order to continue the engagement, so that we distribute that functions and connect the people, that would be difficult. So the similar challenge may be held by at city of Odate in Japan. So Mr. Furuta, to have you are working on getting the feedback from the citizens for the sustainability planning, and what kind of issues and challenges do you face in that process? Well, so this kind of a conference or citizen workshops, the voice we often hear from those participants is that, so we had a discussion and we have a plan in place, but for execution, what we need to do for execution, please show us what we need to do for execution. So planning, and so we need to connect between planning and execution by the citizen. And so for that, we are in the process of planning that we conducted that plan execution council. And then the next step is a plan operation council. And then to do that, we will start the promotional council for the execution with the involvement of the citizens. So based on the feedback that we may review and change the plan. Thank you. So the planning should not be the end of the process. That review and change or modification may be necessary. Then that during the course that we may be able to expand the participation from the citizens, and that may lead to the capacity building of the citizens. And next, I would like to ask the same question to Navin-san. So in your activities in the city of Namchi, what kind of issues you have, and what is your plan to overcome them?
Coming back to the point, actually, we need to understand first where we are coming from. So among the cities which is here, I mean, the people representing the officials. So we are from Northeast, and that also from India. So there is a legacy issue of the citizen engagement, how they were engaged before, or whether they were engaged or not in the planning process. So, but Smart City provided one platform where citizen engagement was one of the core activity requires to be carried out. So we being a small municipal council, so for us it's not a challenging to bring people in the platform to share their views, their ideas. And again, with the events like cycling, the marathon, and the tree plantation, so that basically is their community is very cohesive, so that is already there in the society. So the challenge is all about the technical outcomes which we require. Basically, they would only be talking in terms of the basic needs. But again, to translate that into the real urban planning infrastructure is challenging. So we require more urban professionals and technical professionals to translate or convert that citizen discourse into the urban infrastructure, which is sustainable and environment friendly.
なるほど、ありがとうございます。確かにそうですね、その市民の意見と都市計画の言語の違いというのはもしかしたらあるかもしれませんし、そこを。
Well, so as you said, that the requirement of the citizens and the urban planning or city planning by the municipality may have a gap or differences that has to be filled. Next, I would like to ask to Mr. Arimura of Kagoshima City. So do you have done different things, the PR and the school programs? And then for the city of Kagoshima and the citizens in Kagoshima, have what kind of issues and how they you are trying to overcome them? Well, that issue, the major issue for me would be that though we are trying to focus on the public relations a lot, however, we feel that our communication have not been reached out to the citizens enough yet. So how to improve that? The question now. And so far, that communicating widely, trying to reach widely has been the focus for us. But the communication to cater for the individual need, let's say that the house owners or those people who live in a rented house may have a different needs, or those who live with the families, or those who own the cars. And so that the easy action for would be different for different people. So that we need to communicate that in that way.
Thank you, Arimura-san. And the last but not least, from Darren, Maggie, could you share your thoughts in relation to your initiatives? What are the specific challenges and how are you planning to address the challenges?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a very good point that everybody's interests and needs are different. So you can't just have one program that works for everybody. For us, I think what's very interesting is that although I've worked in this field for 25 years in Durham, it was only in 2018 that we declared a climate emergency, 2019, sorry, and that was because of massive public pressure. And in the UK, people are very aware of climate change, and many people were beginning to campaign, and they forced the council to declare climate emergency. So it came from the people, which is very interesting. We then worked with the people and did this big survey to ask what mattered to them. And also every year now, there is a Durham Climate Action Group, that is the public. They meet regularly and they call us to their meetings. So we don't set it up, they set it up, we respond to them. I think the big challenge is that they don't always understand what the big issues are. So for them, tree planting is very important. I agree. It's very, very important. But if we cover the whole of Durham with trees, people can't live, there's no food, and it doesn't solve the whole climate problem. Now the group is very angry about cars and vans and lorries that leave their engines running. Okay, that's important. But it's not so important. There are much bigger issues around transport, energy use, and so on. So I think there is an issue around educating people on what the big issues are. But at the same time, we must listen to the public. It's not our job to tell them. We must listen to them as well. So it's quite challenging.
ありがとうございます。私も本当に最後のポイント。
Thank you very much. The last point, I couldn't agree with you more. What is the biggest challenge? I think it's really important to identify what is the biggest challenge, and we cannot tell them what is the biggest challenge, and we have to listen to them. We have to, so it's, there are a few questions coming in, and this is not somewhat specific, but in a public administration, when it comes to working with schools or universities, but for public administration, how do you motivate your staff members? Would you like to, who wants to take this question? Does anyone wants to answer the question? How do you motivate your staff member in working with different stakeholders? If not, can I hold on? Or Maggie, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we are very proud that we have that all our staff have climate change in their job descriptions, and that we have training which they must do. And the hospital trust which we work with, so the big hospital in Durham, they have the same process. But one of their directors said it's very difficult that although everybody does the training, what is the next step to make people actually think about what they can do? We have what we call climate champions. So in every area of the council, every office, there is somebody who's a climate champion, and we ask for their ideas, and we try to listen. But I think that point about that the hospital trust said about getting people to really make a difference, I think that's still a very big challenge. So yeah, we've done what you would think is the right things, but still how to really engage staff actively, and I think how to empower and enable them to tell us what they think. That I think is still a big challenge.
ありがとうございます。ダラム市のようなところでもやはりチャレンジ。
In a place like Durham, you still have that challenge. Last question. Let's take last question. This is, anyone can answer this question, but the citizen involvement. Do you have any specific example where citizens' involvement triggered behavior change in corporations? Like citizens, I don't see any hands. I don't see any hands. Franca, do you have any examples where citizens' involvement caused any changes in the corporations?
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of businesses and corporations that are a step forward really than the city hall. So the city hall learns from the businesses and corporations, because the corporations and the businesses in Solingen, for example, in the knife and cutlery industry, they try new materials, try to work with regional materials, and try to reduce the carbon dioxide in their production. And actually we do try to connect with those companies to learn from them and to get quicker, and to connect more people in the production department. We also have in the city hall, as we do have some workshops as well in the city hall. So actually we do learn from them. And they are citizens as well in our town.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. You are right, corporations are citizens as well. We have a lot more questions coming in since we are already at the end of this meeting, so we'll like to move on to the closing remarks. Thank you. I'm sorry that we could not get around all the questions. And from Director of Mr. Director, I just will address you.
And thank you very much for the kind introduction. My name is Takahashi. I'm Executive Director of IGES. First of all, I would like to thank to all panelists participating from the 6 cities. You shared very important cases, and to the audience, you have been eagerly to participate in the event. Thank you very much. And today, that we had discussions focusing on innovative ways to engage citizens in urban climate actions. It's said that over 70% of global energy is consumed in cities. To achieve decarbonized society, it's essential to transform urban infrastructure where factories, housing, and transportation systems are concentrated. And in addition, in 2021, 56% of the world's population live in cities, and this percentage is expected to reach 70% by 2050. So as well as shifting infrastructure in cities, it's also important to consider how to change the lifestyles of the people living in cities to the decarbonated one. And this will require an overall transformation of the societies, institutions, including taxation and pricing and the way business is conducted. The importance of citizen involvement in urban transformation needs to be considered in this context. Citizens can be actors in promoting climate change action in different ways. An individual or a family can choose products and services with low carbon footprint. As members of the community or workplace, you can share your knowledge about climate change and energy and work together to incorporate new product, services, infrastructure, and rules into your community. Citizens also act as a body to promote knowledge formation and decision-making in relation to future livelihood, as in the case of climate change action. Climate change action from citizens' perspective has another important implication. Several cities presented mitigation measures using their carbon footprint, and initiatives worked with citizens to reduce their carbon footprint. For carbon footprint, it now takes into account not only the direct greenhouse gas emissions in a given area, but also the emissions in the value chain of the products and services we buy and use. So by incorporating a carbon footprint, we can review which part and how much of urban society and the lives of the citizens depend on the society and nature in other regions and countries. This review should not only help to decarbonate cities, but also to make them more resilient to disasters and economic changes. Today, panelists from 6 cities spoke about the ways in which they work with their citizens and the difficulties they face in working with them. Examples were presented of citizens acting as agents of changes in their communities and school, creating knowledge about climate knowledge and the future of their communities. The production of messages that deepen citizens' empathy, as well as nurturing citizens using digital and mobile technologies, were also introduced. Each of these initiatives requires an understanding of the local living environment and the reasons why citizens take certain actions and continue improvement through learning with citizens. This is not an easy task when every municipality has limited staff and budget, and when it comes to tackle various issues at the same time, such as disaster management, aging population, and poverty. Therefore, some of the local authorities who are participating today may think that it would not be difficult. It would be difficult in my area. This is also the reason why we have organized today's conference. Having heard the cases of 6 cities, how can we support such advanced efforts to be continued going forward? And how can we support persons in charge in the municipality to learn and support each other? As a policy research organization, we at IGES look forward to further discussions with the audience and panelists. In addition, each and every panelist and audience IJUST staff member is a citizen. We would like to think about what actions we can take in our communities and with whom we should share what we have learned today. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the local authorities for joining us today as panelists, sparing your busy time, and thank you, the audience, for watching to the end. With that, I would like to conclude today's event. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to close today's international event. And thank you very much for watching. And we will welcome your feedback. And so after leaving this webinar, you will lead to the link to the questionnaires. So if you have time, please give your feedback to us. Again, thank you very much for your participation.